Alright guys, welcome back to another React. It's almost 7 o'clock in the morning. I've got my coffee and this week's ISC is about distribution allocution. So it's safe to say it's the underground facility, so we won't skip reacting this week. We will definitely hit this one. Because as I've mentioned in previous videos, this gameplay loop I'm so looking forward to. I think the underground facilities are going to be a means to justify FPS gameplay in the universe. And I think that the FPS side of this game has been extremely lacking in the content department for way too long. This kind of justifies that and almost excludes ships, which I think is something that Star Citizen definitely needed to tackle. You know, Jump Town being a tiny, tiny little structure that you could fit an entire bomb on, for example. So really looking forward to the underground facilities. I've been preaching inside of the organization at the meetings that this gameplay loop is going to really justify FPS, and I think it will. When I think of these underground facilities, I think of Escape from Tarkov and the labs raids. You know, extremely difficult AI. Maybe the deeper you go down, the more difficult it becomes. Extremely rare loot tables, like here, I would imagine perhaps on the lower levels you're looting subscriber items as opposed to the normal bunker or normal building loot tables. You know, rare armor, rare weapons, weapon attachments, stuff like that. Compelling reason to come here. We're also looking for the community to converge here, right? So it becomes a mixture of all the gameplay loops like bounty hunting, criminal elements, PvP, extract camping, all those great things I love about Tarkov come to realization in Star Citizen, I think. I think these bunkers are a huge opportunity and most importantly, could be a starting point for a healthy game economy that does not exist, in my opinion, like I preach and complain about in all my last videos. For me is the biggest issue. No game economy. So really looking forward to this gameplay loop. Let's see exactly what it entails.
At CitizenCon 2952, we introduced the concept of distribution centers, these enormous terrestrial microcosms of Star Citizen's entire FPS experience. And since that time, we've intermittently followed along with their progress as they make their way to the persistent universe in the upcoming Alpha 323. And with that milestone approaching in just the next few months, let's dive underground one more time and see where they're at now, and discuss a little more about what you'll be doing once you get inside.
What are distribution centers?
It's a super basic question, but I've got to unravel about 2 years worth of development time in order to answer it.
So a distribution center is a
Is it a Warhammer tattoo?
colossal hub that an organization owns that they distribute goods for, and this could be commodities themselves or stuff that they're making.
They're very big locations on the ground. They're a hive of activity. But you can also go there and cause some chaos as well.
To the player,
Oh man, this looks great. So you're going down the maintenance way to sneak into the facility. Your friend's up to no good. Perfect. This looks really good.
depending on what faction it is, it's still going to be a means to way of getting different types of missions.
We don't want you to go to this location and be the only person there doing a thing. In some locations, you're going to find that you're just doing a delivery mission,
I can already tell these landing pads are going to be cluttered with ship junk given the persistence. And these facilities are going to be covered in abandoned ships. We all know this is coming. But man, looks very cool.
hauling some cargo out there, you're dropping it off, and you're getting your fee for doing that. But while that's happening, another player could be infiltrating it.
Another player could be extract camping you.
Could be assassinating a VIP in there.
They provide a large variety of gameplay, anything to bombing runs, first-person combat, theft, you name it.
A whole quagmire of different things going on at any one time.
Basically a microcosm for all the FPS-related gameplay in the universe.
What's your favorite thing about the distribution centers?
They're nearly done.
Man, they look good.
So at CitizenCon, we showed you what is going on at these locations, but you want to know what's actually coming in 3.23, so let me tell you. We're going to have multiple DCs throughout the Stanton system. Each one of those is going to...
Oh, I hope there's not too many. Because, like, we have too many bunkers and not enough players to fill them. This is a bit of a worry. Like, drop one a patch. One each patch would have been great, I think.
Be owned by different brands. Some of them are going to be friendly towards you. Some of them, they're going to be hostile towards you. At each location, you're going to have access to both sides of the building, both wings. On those wings, we have 2 landing pads and a hangar.
Oh, wow, so you're going to call a hangar. Man, imagine. Oh, it's going to be chaos.
And 2 cargo freight elevators. Plus you've got the wing itself, so all the missions that you can do outside. On the inside, you'll have access to the lobby and the rooms off that, so sleeping habs, a kitchenette, some VIP spaces, and some maintenance places.
Okay, the VIP place, he would be one of my concerns or hopes. Like, based off these areas, it should justify the loot table. So, like, you go to the VIP area, you go look under the desk, you know, rare loot. You know, rare loot in the sensible spots. I hope the loot table isn't just boxes, guys. Rare subscriber items, rare weapons, armor, etc. I really hope that this isn't just about boxes. There's, again, a huge economic incentive or possibility from this.
In there as well, all with missions.
Below that, you're into the main body of it, which has got...
When you're looking at all these scenes, try to think of how FPS PvP is going to play out in these areas. Like, think of them like an FPS map. But this looks really cool. This looks really good. And the gameplay in them, I'm excited for. Wow.
The central part, which is the warehouse, which is where mainly all the goods go. Branching off of that leads into 2 side roads. From there can be a mixture of rooms. It's always a cargo shop, which is a part delivery space, part canteen for the staff to use for refreshment and taking a break. Storage rooms, which are the main whole of distributing big cargo boxes, which have to be used to be picked up via a tractor beam.
There are worker rest areas, there are security areas, side rooms.
And a side road, which is more like a little maintenance area, but it does have an underfloor, again, with the ventilation access. That's on the inside. Branching out from that as well, there are 2 wings. Each one comes equipped with a cargo area, a shipping depot, and security door than the outside.
Hopefully enough content for you to get your teeth into in this kind of initial release.
Can you bring vehicles inside?
To the outside wings, yes, but you can't drive them into the actual center, no.
No.
Sound really confident about it. Why can't you take vehicles inside?
Because we block them off.
How'd you block them?
All odds.
Vehicle force field?
All odds.
You're telling me there's no way a player is going to be able to tractor beam a vehicle over those ballers and get a vehicle inside?
I would like to say no.
Backers, you know better. The challenge is made. Get the
course.
vehicles in there.
So what will bring players to the distribution centres will depend on the type of player, as we want to give variety, depending if you're an aggressive player or a non-aggressive player and or lawful or unlawful. It's for the 4 types of player that exist in the persistent universe. So there's aggressive, lawful,
Okay.
unaggressive, lawful, aggressive, unlawful, and unaggressive, unlawful.
Which one are you?
I quite like being aggressive. If you're going to go in, you might as well go in hard, right? I'm nice in real life, so I can
No,
be
that's griefing, sir. You can't do that. That's griefing.
aggressive, unlawful in the verse.
There we go. Yo, based.
For aggressive, lawful
We expect that with a Warhammer tattoo, for sure. Hell yeah, brother.
players, you might get a mission where you have to go in and defend one of the distribution.
Given master modes and the turrets, like lethality, because for those who don't know, in atmosphere, the speeds are so constricted in master modes. Like, even if you manage to get into nav mode, you're going barely 50 more than 200. So, like, 300 if you're lucky. These turrets are going to shred you. So, taking down the turrets to get into these facilities via a ship, if you've aggroed the facility, it's going to be quite a task, guys. It's not going to be like it is before at all. You're really going to have some coordination, some teammates, etc. Otherwise, you're going to have to go in with ground vehicles, which justifies ground vehicles, so that's great. This looks really good.
Centers from a hostile attack by outlaw gangs.
You could receive a distress call from the owner of the distribution centre being informed that a gang is trying to acquire goods from a certain section of it, say the storage room.
The player will arrive. They will make their way to the...
Gosh, this looks so good. I wish the FPS, like AI, performed... I wish FPS in general performed better. They're going to have to really take a lot of that back to the drawing board. I plan on making a video about how just brokenly embarrassing FPS is, but this is still incredible. It looks really good.
Location, which is under attack. They will go in, they will see a battle underway between defending forces and the attackers, and they will join sides with the defending forces to take out the attackers. Those attackers might come in waves, they might have big heavies with them, they might have bigger weaponry, but you will join together, possibly with friends, to take out this big assaulting force. Lawful non-aggressive players might want to do something more like delivery or hauling. It's a distribution center. So you...
Because of master modes and turret lethality, this actually might be possible. Like it might be difficult to hit people doing this.
You'll be able to come in, land.
You know, what they need to do is just make, you know, one of the bunkers extremely compelling. Like high risk, high reward. Like Todd Puppy described at CitizenCon for the base rating gameplay. They need to make this like some of the bunkers very passive, low risk, high safety, and then, you know, maybe another bunker polarizing of that, extremely high risk, high reward. That way, you know, the players that are just wanting to do box missions, the new facilities, can go do that quietly, though not with entirely being safe. But, you know, those players that feel they're entitled to this content without the PvP vegetables that come with the meal. But that way you're funneling a lot of the player base to a specific bunker too. Because that's my concern, is that if they saturate this with a bunch of bunkers, then none of them are meta, you know, or they all are, and there's not enough players converging. I would have loved it to have been one bunker a patch, but yeah, hopefully these bunkers stay active for their entire existence. Like, look at Ghost Hollow, for example. It's a ghost town now. No one goes there. Why? Because the UEC isn't justified and the loot isn't justified. So if there's no economic incentive, there's no rare loot, there's no reason to go there, people don't want to contest it, it's a ghost town now. So they need to not make that mistake this time. I don't think they will, hopefully, because in their mind, they want this to be a converging point. That's the absolute goal of it, but they got to do it right. This needs, it's always an economy issue, boys. Like, they really need to have rare loot tables that are justified in farming them and working towards progression and reason for the economy. Like, it's such an issue. I know I beat that drum a lot, but it is.
Load your ship with all the various cargo, depending on what kind of distribution center it is, and take it where it needs to go, whether that's another distribution center or somewhere else completely different.
The plan from doing an internal delivery will be using a hover trolley to distribute one cargo or multiple cargo boxes from one section in the distribution center to another.
I just hope that these bunkers aren't just about boxes. I hope that it's rare loot tables.
They really are big enough to do an entire mission without ever leaving. You could be doing a delivery from one room, let's say the storage room, up to the lobby.
For an aggressive illegal player, you might do an all-out assault on the distribution center. You can fly in, the location security will kick in, so you'll be trespassing, you'll get shot at by turrets.
Oof.
If you manage to land, you will...
They are going to shred with master modes, guys. These turrets are going to shred.
Infiltrate the facility. All guards will be hostile to you, and you can go in, you can, if it's an assassination mission, you can go in, take out a VIP. If it's a theft mission, you can run a heist, go in, rob the place, get out again.
Each distribution center, especially the bigger company ones, would have armed guards at least on site. They'd also have turrets mobilized around the outside, so you would have to, coming in by air is very dangerous because you would be distinctly seen as trespassing, so.
Nice, so ground vehicles, ground vehicle meta, very cool, and justifies ground vehicles.
Each security zone around a distribution center protects it, even from the air, not just the ground. So for non-aggressive, unlawful theft missions would be a prime example of you sneaking into distribution center to avoid being detected by security to acquire goods unlawfully.
You can basically do a stealth version of the hostile mission.
We are playing Splinter Cell now, boys. Wow, very cool.
So instead of it being an all-out assault and going in guns blazing, maybe you find a back route in, maybe you sneak in past guards, make your way to the location without being detected. If you get the item that you need to steal, you can turn around, make your way out, and hope they don't find you. For players that don't have a mission, the response that you get when you approach a distribution center is going to depend on which distribution center it is. Some are going to welcome visitors. They'll be quite happy to see you. Others definitely don't want any visitors at all.
So depending on the type of facility, some public ones, and you'll be able to come in and just use it as a social space. Other higher security level ones, you would not have or be granted access without being granted a mission.
Right, and that just splits off the player base into their respective corners, right? If you want to do the safe route because you're complaining about with posts on Reddit about PvP, you go to the safe one. But the other tighter security, the tighter security facilities are far more contested, far more action-packed. Anything goes. Great, love it, love it, love it.
So besides missions, if a player decides to go like full chaotic evil inside the distribution center, they can go in.
Trigger discipline. Just see him accidentally shoot the gun when he landed. Trigger discipline.
Full guns blazing, but they're going to be met with a lot of resistance. So you're going to need to see some pretty, like a heavily armored ship to deal with the anti-air guns and a lot of firepower when you get inside because there's a load of guards to deal with.
Wow,
so a big driving force behind the distribution centers.
Like imagine the FPS PvP that's going to happen in these corridors and stuff, like these halls. Just so cool.
Is to really bring players together in all different kinds of ways. So maybe you've got somebody there.
Yeah, but if you... But griefing, guys, griefing, right?
Who's running a delivery mission, and at the same time, you've got a group of people coming in to raid the place.
Dude, what is with these guys having their finger on the trigger when they're jumping over these ledges and accidentally popping off around?
And steal a bunch of stuff. They all get caught up together in a whole big mess, and the hope is that it's a fun, exciting, and probably quite chaotic experience.
We want it so that as you're playing it through, other things are happening around.
Like, do the people on Reddit realize that everything they complain about, oh, a player killed me in the bunker for no reason, like, do you expect it to be any different here? Like, they want chaos. They want players going up against players. Like, people need to wake up to this.
Things that you sort of want to get involved in yourself.
I hope the players perceive it as mainly for the variety, to give the players the choice to lean into, do they want to be aggressive or do they want to be passive? That we know different players like playing different ways, so we're hoping this variety in the distribution center gives the players the access whether they want to play that aggressive.
And I can get behind that too. And it should be the separation of facilities though, I think. I don't think you should have like a safe side of the facility and then a non-safe, because guess what? They share airspace. So you bring down unlawful players to a facility. It doesn't, like, do you think they're going to honor that design in the atmosphere 10 kilometers above? No, they're going to shoot on site, right? So hopefully it's a separation of facilities. But no, I dig the design. I love those ideas. I want these guys that aren't interested in PvP to have their playground too, separate to the other playground where the big boys play.
Aggressive or passive fantasy inside the verse.
Of course, this is the first drop of the distribution centers and development will be ongoing. We're shooting for a healthy variety of distribution centers for 3.23 and more to come as we approach 4.0.
So at some point after 3.23 and into the future, I don't know when, we are going to be looking at the end game stuff that you want to
Here we go.
play, and that's going to be in the form of raids.
Oh, okay. So like bosses, rare loot. Okay. Interesting. Instanced raids? No, it can't be. So it'd be like open world dungeons, I guess, which is like what Rich Tyria mentioned in Salty Mike's chat was that the deeper levels of the underground facilities are coming in the future, so that's probably reserved for the raids. Interesting. Very interesting.
Raid!
Raids!
And the legendary loot
Don't
tables,
put that in.
stuff like that.
Oh, we're definitely leaving that in.
Yeah, he's getting yelled
So,
at.
what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that distribution centers will be home to missions and gameplay of every sort, that Alpha 3.23 will mark their arrival, that the much anticipated raid gameplay first discussed at CitizenCon will follow at some point thereafter, and that if you're the ISC gameplay capture team working in builds weeks and sometimes even months before Evocati, you may find that the planets of Pyro and Stanton have loaded into the same physical space and turned themselves inside out, and all you're trying to do is make your weekly show. Don't worry, they're having the time of their lives. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week. Like that.
Here we go. Here's the last segment. Now I've had the time of my life. Okay, so he's singing. Anyways, yeah, really looking forward to this, guys. Like, I think this is going to be huge. It's going to completely change up the way we play the game. It's going to, you know, maybe split the experience more to a 50-50 between spaceships and FPS. So looking forward to this. My only criticism would be that I hope the loot table isn't just boxes. You know, let's get some subscriber gear in there. Let's get some rare loot, rare armor, weapons, etc. Hopefully the converging is convincing enough so the economic incentive to go there will actually make these bunkers popular rather than a ghost town. And then my biggest concern is the performance. That many NPCs at a bunker in a mega structure like that, like, it's reasonable to say there's probably like going to be 100 NPCs. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So excited to get my hands on this in the PTU, start going there with friends, extract camping, checking out what the loot is. So awesome. What do you guys think? Are you excited for this as much as I am? Or am I just huffing copium? I will catch you guys in the next video, yeah? Next video should be a podcast with Captain Burks, by the way. So that should be fun. Anyways, boys, GG's. Thanks for watching. Appreciate yous. Let me know what you think in the comments. GG's.